Any meeting that you hold is likely to require audio. Although you can use the phone, Connect has built-in audio capability that uses Voice over IP, also known as VoIP. It's convenient, especially for those who want to attend without access to a telephone. But because it's a little bit different as a way to talk, you'll want to spend a little bit of time making sure that you yourself are comfortable with the setup and you know how to guide others who want to use the solution. So let's take a look at how both to activate Voice over IP and how to help other people who might need to troubleshoot it a little bit. To get started, here in my Connect meeting, I've got a little picture of a microphone. And the simplest way to activate Voice over IP and begin talking is to click on the microphone. Now, the first thing that you'll notice is that the Adobe Flash Player requests permission to do this. Anytime the Flash Player is going to be taking information from your computer and sharing it, it needs to ask specifically for permission so that it can't violate your privacy. Once I click Allow, the microphone is active. And I can tell that the microphone is active because if I look carefully next to it, there are little sort of waves emanating from the mic. In fact, I can look over here on the attendee list and see the exact same thing from the little picture of the microphone there. So now, if someone else were in the room and listening, and their computer speakers were turned up, they would hear me speaking. Of course, a one-way meeting isn't a very exciting thing, so what I might want to do is give access to the microphone to one of the participants in the room. We can see here that Olivia Napolitano is in the room as a participant. She doesn't have access to a microphone. There's no little icon at the top of her meeting room. To make it so that she can talk, what I need to do is hover over her name and then select Enable Audio. By doing that, I'll give Olivia access to the microphone and she can begin to talk. If I have a meeting of several people, it's inconvenient to have to do that for each and every person, so what I might choose to do is choose under the Audio menu, Enable Audio for Participants. And what that does is it makes everybody in the room able to use the microphone so that everyone can jump on and start speaking. And if that sounds a little bit dangerous to you, well, there's a solution here for that as well. So if I do select Enable Audio for Participants, what I might want to do is Enable Single Speaker Mode. What that does is essentially emulates the concept of being in a meeting where you have to pass a baton around in order to speak. Anybody without the baton can't speak. In other words, when I choose Enable Single Speaker Mode, whoever has the microphone pressed down and is talking is the only person who can talk. Everyone else's microphone will be grayed out. And when I allow there to be a little bit of silence, if you look at the microphone, there's a little star next to it. That's an indication that single speaker mode is enabled. If I want to give somebody else the ability to speak, all I need to do is turn my microphone off. The microphone becomes white. The people in the room cannot hear me, and I can see that single speaker mode is enabled because of the little asterisk. If Olivia presses on her microphone, that will disable it, and I won't be able to press on my microphone. And there you go. You can see that my microphone is actually grayed out. I cannot activate my mic. In fact, it says, mic unavailable at this time, single speaker mode is on. Now, fortunately, as the host in the room, I can come back over here to the audio menu and I can turn that off, and then that will allow me to speak and everyone else to speak at the same time. If I'm presenting and single speaker mode is not on, and I don't want to hear the other people trying to chit-chat, one of the things that I can do is come over here to my little speaker and click it. And what that will do is that will actually turn the speaker off, so that even though people are chatting and using Voice over IP effectively, I won't be able to hear it. And there may be times when I want to allow people to chat among themselves. I might be preparing something off the computer to say next, and I don't have to hear the conversation that's going on. Now, the final thing that I want to point out here is that this is fundamentally a different way for people to talk. People know how to use the telephone. Using a computer to talk has lots of different variables. Is your microphone on? Are your speakers on? Are the drivers in place? Is everything set up on the computer to work correctly? Because of that, Connect has a tool in it that's very, very helpful, especially the first few times that you begin to work using Voice over IP with an audience. Under the meeting menu, what you'll want to do is choose the Audio Setup Wizard, and it's a good idea to have your audience do the exact same thing. What the Audio Setup Wizard does is it takes you through a few steps to make sure that the system is configured correctly to use its microphone, to use its speakers, so that it can use Voice over IP through Connect. The first thing I'll do is click Next, and you'll want to test the sound output. What that does is it plays a little music and lets you know if your speaker is on and able to make sound. If you didn't hear anything, then it's not. The next step, determine that you have the microphone that you want connected, and it's actually the microphone that Connect is going to use. In this case, I'm using a webcam with a microphone connected, so I've got it selected, I'm good to go. If I were trying to talk and nothing were happening, then I might click on this list to choose the microphone or to choose a different microphone if I have a computer system with several microphones connected. My microphone is connected correctly, so I'm going to leave that alone. Next, to test it and make sure everything's working, I'm going to click on Record. Now, when I speak, what I should be seeing is the blue bar going up and down. That's an indication that the microphone is hearing me and that there is sound. I can stop it. And then if I wanted to confirm that it was loud enough or whatever, I could play the recording to hear what I sounded like. Since I know that it's working, I'm going to go ahead and click Next. And now I want to test silence. So what I'm going to do is click on Test Silence. Once the blue bar is complete and it says Test Complete, what I've done is I've allowed Connect to capture what silence actually sounds like. Now, it may seem silly, but if you think about a fan in the background or the wind blowing or something like that, that sort of ambient noise is something that Connect can try to filter out while you're talking. It does two things. One, it means that when I have my microphone open, it's not going to be sending that windy blowing sound through the microphone. And two, it means that when the microphone is trying to listen for me talking, it's going to know that my voice is different than that silent background noise. So it's a good idea to do that, and it will allow Connect to give me a clearer sound through voice over IP. And then finally, there's just some information about it that I might want to take a quick glance at, but in most cases, I'm just going to simply click Finish. And by simply doing that, I'm probably going to have a better voice over IP experience than if I don't. And I'll say that in working with Connect for as long as I have, probably 9 times out of 10, when a person in my meeting room is complaining that voice over IP is not working, running them through the audio setup wizard will fix the problem and then allow them to take advantage of this. So, voice over IP is a very convenient way built right into Connect for you to be able to talk to and hear your audience without having to tie up a phone line.